Each year the festival coughs up different themes. And this year it seems to be a theme about listening, the value of listening and not talking, because we know from the political standpoint there's an awful lot of talk, but not much listening. So therefore there's a breach. There's a bridge that's not getting crossed. So the value of listening when people have something to say is really important. But then, the reason I'm happy to celebrate him tonight is that change is inevitable. It's going to happen, but sometimes it takes a long, long time. And you roll along, and suddenly there's a moment, and that moment comes, and change is going to happen. And there's a tipping point that comes with it. And there has to be a voice honoring that tipping point. Martin Luther King did it. Other people have done it over time. And I think that having not grown up here, I didn't grow up here. Otherwise I'd be a very different person. I grew up in Los Angeles, but I came here, I wanted to adopt this place largely because of the environment and also the feeling of what a culture that believed in hard work and helping others. I thought that was really impressive. So that's my history here. And then over time I've learned that there's a whole other area here that's slightly subdued. It took me a while to figure that out, and I realized that there was something needed to happen here that would be change. That something needed to change here in the culture. And it wasn't easy because the culture was very old, and it was dominated by old people, as you can see tonight in the film. And it needed to have a change, and you needed to have a voice for that change. So for me, the pleasure for me tonight is to celebrate, not introduce because you know who he is to celebrate Dan Reynolds' work, because he raised a voice as an artist. He raised a voice that needed to be raised about an issue that needed to be explored. And he risked that, and it wasn't easy. It was a very difficult thing to do, but he did it. And as a result, we're being exposed to a whole other way of seeing this culture and this state. And it makes me very, very happy because I think it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad Dan's here.
I'm going to use this microphone because Bob used this microphone. So this microphone's going to go over here. Man, wow. Where am I? What is this? I just want to say, something that Bob just said right now got me thinking. Living in Los Angeles and then coming to Utah, a lot of people would say there's quite a difference between those two places. And yet, Bob seems to have taken something from both of those places and brought something, a part of him, to both of those places. And I was thinking that, I've had a lot of things that I've had to get past this last year with my family. As many of you know, my family, this has been a difficult road because they're all very conservative and they don't believe in this cause in the same way that I do. They're loving, good people, but they believe in their faith, and my mom will die upon that faith. And there's something beautiful about that. There's something that I know I wouldn't be here unless I listened to my mom, who taught me to follow my heart, to never be ashamed of being a Mormon. It was not cool to be Mormon in Las Vegas, let me tell you. It didn't get you girls. Not one girl did I get from being Mormon and telling them that I served in Nebraska, Omaha, and Michigan. But I learned from my mom that when you set your mind to something, you be loyal to it until your heart tells you otherwise, and then you follow your heart. My mom taught me that. And then on the opposite side, I came and I met my wife from Eugene, Oregon. her family, religion couldn't be a worse, it is seen as just it is seen as the cause of a lot of bad things in the world, let's just say that. Her family sat down with me and wanted to do tarot cards and do numerology on my name, and they told me all kinds of cool things. And I was the biggest skeptic of all time until they said, right, but you believe that Joseph Smith saw this, we're both a little bit kooky here, so let's split the difference, okay? But I know this is taking a while to get, but I'm getting somewhere, and that's that I listened to her family, and from her family I learned tolerance. I learned how important it was for people to have equal rights. I learned how important it was to get to know people. And once you know them, then you understand them. Even though I had a couple friends growing up who were gay, I didn't know them as much as I needed to know them. And it took listening, which her family does. Her family listens. And so, we live in this world today that's so divided, and the left thinks they're completely right, or let me say this a different way. The left thinks they're completely correct, and the right thinks they're completely correct. But we need each other. There's something to be learned from both sides. And both sides are what brought me to this point to want to be an activist and to want to create change. It came from my mom, it came from my wife. And so listening is everything, and respecting is everything. And though we might not agree on politics, and we might not agree on doctrine or religion, there's still something to be learned from that person. And what's remarkable to me is to meet someone like Bob, who of course I've known my entire life, and he's never known me. And the people that I've talked to here at Sundance, who are on the board, who are involved with Sundance, one of the things that every single one of them told me about Bob was that he cares about causes. And he continually says Sundance should be about movies that make change. And I don't know, that really, to hear that from someone who doesn't need to be doing any of that and could be relaxing and enjoying life, and having created this big festival, could just take a step back, to hear that you're still that passionately engaged makes me really hope that this is the beginning, and that I can forge a lifetime of activism like Bob has. And so this is incredible. What an honor. Thank you for being here tonight. And may we continue to move towards equality, towards all, in all religions and non, and may we embrace all of each other politically and non, and we need each other. We need to listen. So, thank you.